shortly.
I would just like to confirm that all attendees will be named in the minutes unless otherwise instructed. And I would also like to just remind everybody to make sure that you've signed in on those sheets for those who are staying for the meeting, which immediately follows this. This meeting has been recorded and will be uploaded to the Biddulph Town Council YouTube page. The aim is that decision-making should be transparent and in the public domain, which will involve more of our community in local democracy. By being in this council chamber, you are consenting to be recorded and for your image to be added to YouTube. Images and sound may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed are the speaker's own and do not necessarily reflect the view of the Town Council. Please view the guidance on recording and public meetings policy if you need further information. Thank you. So we go straight on to the agenda. Item number 49 on the agenda is public participation. To start off, if we can invite the representatives from Staffordshire Police to step forward. It's very good to see you this evening.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I won't take up much of your time this evening, thankfully from us. I'd like to discuss, be quite quick. For the antisocial behaviour bill, statistics on the computer show over the last 12 months, we've seen a reduction of 39%. And in the last month, we've seen a reduction from 14 incidents reported of antisocial behaviour to 13 in the locality of Biddulph. However, crime for Biddulph has seen a slight increase over the last 12 months, which is an increase of 24%. Unfortunately, due to the system, couldn't get exactly how many incidents that was. The only other thing I've been asked to raise by some residents from surgeries is at the bottom of Albert Street in Biddulph. One of the bollards, I believe, has been knocked over. I think somebody's tripped over and fallen. They just wanted me to raise it to see if anything can be done about the ground.
We're on that.
Yeah, we were at that.
And that's everything. So, any questions?
Yes, if I may raise just a couple of issues, my prerogative to go first. Firstly, we've had quite a serious fly tipping incident on Millhays Road. It's unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because the council can't be responsible for picking it up, it's unfortunately on private land, but that doesn't negate the extent and the absolute abhorrent behaviour and thoughts which go through people's minds to do that. It's within half a mile of the household recycling site. It's absolutely disgusting. So obviously it is still prevalent in the area. If you can keep a lookout on that. Yeah. Staffordshire Moorlands District Council have done an investigation to see if there's anything which identifies the culprit. I don't know the answer to that, but we are very much aware of it.
Yeah, no, definitely we can keep an eye out. I can't say I've seen anything officially reported through to us at least. I don't want to say for definite because I might have missed it, but I can double check that and see where that, if there's an investigation going on our side. If so, where is it at?
And the other thing I'd like to raise, which is to do with parking enforcement, I know that most parking enforcement is civil, but I have got a concern about the amount of cars which are parking on the zigzag lines, both outside here and high up the high street. And there's some really seriously bad parking going on around the schools, notably Knapsley First School and Park Middle School area. So if there is any enforcement of obstruction, then it would be appreciated. Obviously, guidance helps first before draconian measures. But I think it is getting to be a very frustrating issue for residents who live around both those areas. If you could possibly look at that for us as well.
I can only imagine. And obviously, with parking restrictions, we can only really enforce obstructions. I think rest is left to council, the parking attendants, but I can most certainly pass it on to colleagues to say, keep your eye out, and if there is any obstructions, take positive action, and hopefully that will reduce for the future. Okay.
Councillor Rogers?
Sorry, very quickly, so an increase in crime, can you say what type of crime, theft of or burden? Thank you.
No problem. Unfortunately, due to a technical error with the system we use for stats, I couldn't pull up exactly which the increase was from. If more were like say if theft or the increased more than a different type of incident, But I can certainly get that figures as soon as the technical issue is sorted out, so I can come back to you with them statistics.
Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. Yeah, just enforcing obstruction. You want to fill your book up, go and have a wander around Biddulph tonight, or any night. It's right, and the number of times I see people with pushchairs and prams having to go onto the road, particularly on New Streets. But tonight, I've come down here tonight, top of Cottage Lane, the junction with Chapel Lane. There's 3 or 4 enormous vehicles there, vans and trailers. Bloke who owns them has been spoken to before, I believe, and it died off a bit. It's back again. And people can't, there's a disabled lady on the other corner that can't get out because of the vehicle now before. Have you got time tonight? Walking up a week, they're there now, about 5 hours.
No, like you say, I completely get that. I mean, as PCSOs, we don't have the power to take it for obstruction anyway. It's a police officer who does that for obstruction. And like I say, with the council, if they see any parking, they can take it. But as PCSOs, we can't, but I can certainly pass it on.
Well, let's send the Bobby up there. Send the policeman up there.
I'm not disputing that, but unfortunately, due to the staff that we've got on the mall and the other institutions, it's not always easy to them have the time to get up there. I'm not saying that's right, but that's the situation we're in.
Councillor Jones,
If I may,
if you may, just a short intervention.
we're doing your next be load to do.
Yeah, I'm not
Thank you.
disputing that. If we are, that's certainly.
Jackson.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson, please.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. The bollard that you mentioned, towards the bottom end on the right-hand side of Albert Street, as you're coming down, is a hole in the ground.
Yes, that's. I haven't actually seen it myself.
Show me a picture of
I've
it.
only mentioned it today.
Okay.
Then asked Daisy.
You know, it's very interesting.
To the county council, so that one should be in hand. You had the email. Yeah. And secondly, we've been waiting now for a considerable time, I think. And there's been a lot of movement with personnel within the bit of contingent. But we've been asking for contact details of the PCSOs and the officers who could pick the phone up. We might not get you on duty, I understand that, but could go to somebody who might be. I think we've been asking for this now for about 4 or 5 months, as I know too. Is it possible that we could actually move on that? I'm hopeful now we've got something like a settled contingent, and you know we're going to have a period of time where the staff are going to be in post, you know, for a length of time. So there's not a big change of personnel. So I think it would be really useful, certainly for councillors, just to have the phone numbers and contact details of all the officers appertaining to the Biddulph area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, certainly. If I get them sent over to you, sir, can you get them sent out?
Yeah.
By the end of the week.
Okay. Concludes.
Questions or is
I think we're good. Thank you very much.
perfect?
Give you attendance.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Do you want me to watch you? Are you going down the road? Do you want me
I think like Jeff's easier.
to- Yeah, come.
Okay, moving on, staff to county council representative. If we start off with councillor Thunder.
Who's that?
I don't know, but I understand he's got, I don't know him, but I understand he's going to be very brief.
Yeah, I am. Not much has been happening since the last report here. So I'll just go for a few things. There's some consultation that's just been released with community strategy. The reason I bring it up is because of what you do is so good, and I really want you to participate in it. There's one set of surveys for residents, and there's another set of surveys, which is what you need to fill in. There's councillors and there's parish councillors and everything else, town councillors, and that's about partners survey. So if you could maybe put those in then information as many of you as can, and any other organisations that you're aware of, fill it in. That would be very useful for what we're trying to do at the moment through Victoria Wilson up at the county. There's also a members event. I don't know whether I'm certainly going to try and go. So if you don't go, there'll be some coverage for either us two to go and attend to see what all that's about. Health committee. I just wanted to say I've had a quick word with John. He's going to bring it up through his reporting process. But we have had the West Midlands Ambulance Service in. It was a 2.5 hour period of what they've been doing. I'm not going to go into any details. A couple of things came out of it, which I'll let John tell you. They were a bit sick and tired of static orders and and everything else by the end of it, but we did make sure we put our tuppence worth in, didn't we, John?
Yeah, sick and tired of me,
Yeah, absolutely. So that was good. The other things that are happening with health committee, there's another health committee next Monday. We're almost weekly at the moment. And that's about Wally's Quarry, was over in Newcastle, but there's an important principle here to do with the Environment Agency and allowing them to be able to do things that we expect them to do to keep our health, where it should be, which is, not give any poisonous gases, emissions into the air and everything else. So that's next Monday, and that's over in Newcastle. Then we have a normal, what was referred to as a usual meeting as well. So we've got three, well, we've had one, we've got two before Christmas. So I just thought to let you know that. In terms of community from people applying for my community fund, I've got the Friends of Newport Meadow. I'm looking at that one at the moment. We're looking for something for the Biddulph District Community Orchestra, which is the one that myself and Ian have supported over the years. So that's going to be going forward. And there's something from the Sharing Information for Biddulph Town Council as well, which I'm hoping to be able to sort out. So that's 3 different applications coming in from here. And I've had other areas been putting that forward as well. So that's to do with the community funding, which should be completed in the not too distant future. I'm going to go on to SEND next. I did meet Miss Robinson on Sunday at the remembrance thing, and Dee and I both think that we need to push on a bit because we haven't heard anything from the meetings we've had in the past. I know you were present at one of them as well, Nigel. And it fits in a little bit with the meeting that we had with the new manager up at the Children's Centre, which we had earlier this week or
last week.
Last week. And what they're doing there to set up the new district-based children's services hub, which is going to be based at the Children's Centre. So, and there's work I think that the town council can do with support from the parish, from the county, which I think would be very good and be very productive. So that was quite a good meeting as well. In terms of other things, there's the audit accounts coming up, full council coming up, and we're going to arrange another residents working group as well on that front. We're going on to with DHP at the moment. The Cat 3 potholes that were meant to be in addition to everything else that they were meant to be trying to do over the summer, if you can call November the summer, they have admitted to me this morning that Park Lane needs to have a road closure to complete their 6 bigger holes up there that they're going to have to put a bit more effort into than they originally thought. So they're going to have to put a road closure into Park Lane. Not sure when that's going to be happening, but I have let some of the residents know that already. Obviously, going to arrange a residents group meeting, and I've had some issues around leaf clearing, which I have tried to mention that is a district element to it, but they haven't reported that to me, so that will be going on as well. I think that is it. Questions?
No questions.
Whee, it's working.
Very good.
The animal's working.
Yes, very good.
Thank you.
Just to remind everybody who didn't turn up early, which I presume was by design, is that as county councillors, both Keith and myself are making ourselves available from 5 o'clock on the evening of a town council meeting, so that if there's anything individual points or individual wards we can take up, so it keeps things as concise as possible. So coming over to myself, in addition to what Keith says, just to stress the members' initiative, the member financed repairs, because we were given a special fund to sort out category 3s last year. I have been told has now come to a conclusion on Biddulph North. You've just got one final stretch of Overton Road, which they're doing, and then suspending operations until we hope to restart it next year. And I think, it has been quite successful. We have seen quite a number of interventions and certainly an acceleration of road closures over the last month to get as much done. There's so much more to do, but I think this year has been a pretty good year. Obviously, the way the weather has been and the forecasts, we are constantly getting problems with potholes appearing. But again, I stress the reporting system is the way to go, and it does seem to be quite effective. One of the things which I want to add as well is that we've also had the results of the climate change survey, which has been a county-wide survey. The amount of respondents, I think it's in the top 3 highest number of respondents the county have ever had to a survey, and the overwhelming results does suggest that it is a concern and it is a priority for residents. Well over 66% of people who responded across all age ranges that are concerned about if not climate change itself, certainly the effects which we've seen of climate change within the community. So that was very encouraging, because there's an awful lot of work which is starting there. And the other thing which I want to mention, it wasn't mentioned last time, something which we've been working on with the Transport Bus Group, is that we put forward proposals for 3 additional bus services for Biddulph. One which truly connects the moorlands, delivering people from Biddulph to Leek, vice versa, and as part of a round robin which goes on to Cheadle. So we've got connection through the moorlands, and one which connects Biddulph through Mowcop to Harrishead to Kidsgrove railway station. So we've got connectivity to a significant main line railway station, which Kidsgrove is, more so than Congleton. I've also been working and cajoling about parking and safe spaces around schools. And one of the things which I was invited to put a proposal forward, and I have done, is to potentially provide a school bus service to do a figure of 8 through the town, servicing the schools, to hopefully take off at least 20% of the cars which are parking, because one of the issues we've got is not being able to use, because of disability regulations, not being able to use the vacant seats on the paid for school buses where school children have the school seat paid for by the county. So we're looking at an alternative figure of 8 loop system to do that. So it's early days, they bid for funding, but our bids have been very positively received by county. They were quite impressed with the thought which went there. So I'm looking forward to that. Have you got an update on that? Oh, we might have an update. Oh, it's positive. Right. Two of those are out to tender. The Kidsgrove and the Cheadle one.
No, and the Congleton Saturday.
Oh, there's Congleton Saturday. Excellent. Would you like to?
I don't know, is that confident? No, it's not, is it?
If it's gone out to tender, because it's confidential. Yeah. 2 of those applications have gone out to tender. So that means, subject to the tenders coming back satisfactory and people bidding for them, then we should have an improvement on our bus service, which is very positive. Councillor Flunder?
Just very quickly, I've just got to mention him a thing. It's something that Adrian asked me, and I'm sorry, I was going to bring it up during what I was saying. 94 bus service, I'm sure you're aware of this. They're going to keep funding that until March 2025. I've got an email back, but I thought you'd already covered that within your meeting.
Yeah.
That's another success story. So thank you very much for that.
So it's the extension of the 94 bus service to provide a service to Congleton on Saturday, which has gone out to tender. So that would be a significant improvement. Councillor Hart.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. In light of the alternative notice of motion that was put up at the District Council, which mentioned very heavily bus services, I'm not saying it's connected, but it certainly is in the spirit of that notice of motion that things are being done. Because we need connectivity all over the moorlands. Some of the rural villages, particularly Councillor Mallion's ward and up around there, bordering on the peak, have no bus service. And it's encouraging if we can start looking at, and also there's a very useful one around Salisbury in Wiltshire, which is a community bus service. And I'm hoping that possibly we may start looking at those sort of services.
Yes.
It's a disabled friendly bus able to go round and connect the villages into a larger town and back again. It'd be nice.
It would. And in fact, just indulging slightly on that, it's because of the lack of connectivity of the bus service, certainly from Biddulph's point of view, of the bus service which is called Moorlands Connect, that we actually raised the issue at the group to actually see if we can get a true connection to the moorlands. So the idea of the bus service which connects Biddulph to Leek, as it goes on through the villages to Cheadle, turns around and comes back from Cheadle to Leek and then to Biddulph in its time. So it actually provides, ideally, so it provides a commuting service to Leek College for Biddulph students, which is something which is extremely important. And it also allows those, the elder population not to have to rely on the cars and be confident that they can actually go and visit places which are a little bit different and actually make sure that the moorlands actually works collectively at the moorlands, so it all fits together. And it is the drive from the district which actually focuses the efforts on that. So yes, thank you.
Declare an interest of applying for bus pass.
Very good. No more questions? Excellent. Thank you. If we can move on, do we have apologies?
We do, we've got apologies from councillor Harper, councillor Rushton, councillor Hawley and councillor Eardley.
Do we have any declarations of interest? Firstly, to declare any.
Councillor Smith had a message up the rear, and I'll just pick it up.
Right, okay, yes. Smith. So moving on, declarations of interest to declare any disclosable pecuniary interest or declarations. Councillor Rodney.
Yeah, just declaration of pecuniary interest on my fellow expenses to staff, please.
And any declarations of other disclosable interests? So moving on to the minutes. The minutes of the town council, if we can go through them. Any anomalies, if you can please make your presence known. Presence. In attendance. Item 35, public participation, Staffordshire Police, Staffordshire County Council representative. Apologies. Declarations of interest. Minutes. Deputy Mayor's communications. Standing agenda items. To receive an update on outside body meetings attended in the past month. To approve a second councillor to complete internal control monitoring visits with councillor Hawley. To receive an update on the referendum for the neighbourhood plan and neighbourhood development order. Accounts and finance. And the approval of supplementary accounts. And then moving on to confidential items which were discussed at the meeting. To receive an update in relation to the ongoing discussions regarding the community ownership fund. To receive an update in relation to the Station Road fountains and to agree further actions. To confirm new storage arrangements for town council market equipment. To receive an update from the mining lamps working group and to agree further actions. And that concluded the minutes of the meeting. Can I have a proposer, please? Proposed by councillor Hart, seconded by councillor Jones. Thank you. Show of hands. Unanimous, thank you. Next, if we can go through the. It's in the same order as I've got it.
Recreation.
Minutes of the Recreation and Amenities Committee.
Would like to propose those, please, Mr Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Just like to go through them. Present. In attendance. Apologies. Declarations of interest. Minutes of the previous meeting. To receive an update on memorial testing. To receive an update on the abatement walk at the burial grounds. To consider footpath priorities, including feedback from Biddulph Ramblers. And jobs for Lensman standing items. Confidential items to consider action in relationship to ongoing issue regarding damage to headstones. And the final item was to consider land opportunities within the town, which is a standing agenda item. So I've had a proposal for acceptance from councillor Hart, seconded from councillor Garvey. So next, if we can go through the minutes of the planning committee meeting.
Receive those.
Oh, sorry. Can we have a vote to receive those, please? Thank you, unanimous. I'll get the hang of this by next year. Next year happens. So we can go through the minutes of the planning committee. So present. In attendance. Councillor Garvey, were you?
Good to propose those.
You can propose.
Deputy Mayor.
You can propose them now if you want. Yeah.
Or move them, should we say?
Yes. Apologies. Declarations of interest. Minutes from the previous month's meeting. Standing agenda item to consider any proposed sites for local listing. To receive any updates on the neighbourhood plan and neighbourhood development order referendum. New planning applications. and new decisions and notices received from the district council. So they're moved by councillor Garvey. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Redfern. Can I have a show of hands, please? Very good. Getting the hang of this now. Next is the minutes of the Town and Community Committee meeting. So again, we have in attendance, apologies, declarations of interest, minutes, to receive an update on Christmas events and activities, to receive an update on the heritage and restoration projects, to receive an update on the Station Road Art project, to consider website and social media data usage, to receive an update on the Shared Prosperity Fund applications, to receive an update on the older people's feasibility study work, and to agree a date for the next business network breakfast. We then went into confidential items, and one was to consider and approve storage options, and the final item was an emergency agenda item. So can I have somebody to move those? Councillor Garvey, can we have a seconder? Councillor Lawton, can we have a show of hands, please? Thank you. So moving on to Mayor's communications, I wasn't expecting until about 3 o'clock to be sitting here, so I haven't got a lot to say, to be perfectly honest. But the two things which I do want to mention is that everybody is aware that it's the Biddle flight switch on the 25th of November. So any assistance on stewarding and patrolling around, just keeping an eye on things would be gratefully received. What time do we normally meet, Chief Officer?
We'll close the road about 10 o'clock.
Close the road about 10 o'clock, so drift in, drift out, rotate from then and stay till midnight would be absolutely fine.
10 till 10.
10 till 10, yeah, something like that. So we should be okay. So that's Saturday the 25th. Port Vale are playing away, so there's no excuses. Oh, okay, very good. Yes.
No excuse.
And the other item of communication, unless Chief Officer add some extra, is the tree plant.
Yeah, we haven't put that you.
Yeah.
Got Christmas done this week.
Okay,
But yeah, you
okay.
can do that.
So we're looking forward to getting the Christmas lights done this week, but we have got a tree planting and combined litter picking exercise to do on the 3rd of December at Biddle Valley Park.
Sorry? Is that Mr. Deputy Mayor?
Sunday the 3rd, yes.
And every Sunday?
Yes. So it's part of our environment and climate change working group commitments. We've got 420 saplings to plant dotted around various areas to enhance the park space. And looking around, we need to do a litter picking exercise at the same time, I think, so we can combine the two based on the physical capabilities of everybody who turns up and where their particular niches. I think that would go quite well. Perfect. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Right, moving on the agenda, item number 54, standard agenda items. Part A, to receive an update on the management of town council assets. So over to Sarah, Chief Officer.
Thank you. I've got an update on the agenda later on, actually. We've just to let you know that we had you've seen all before the list of outstanding jobs that we had with the assets team at the district council. That's projects that from their longest time is about 12 years that we've been waiting for some progress on to more recent activities. And that was sent to the, I'm not sure what the job title is executive director.
Oh yes, the executive director for place.
Who identified in conversation with me, identified 4 projects that they felt they could move forward initially, with a commitment to move forward to the other 10 or 12 that were on the list. So we chose, of those 4, we said that we would like a longer lease on the visitor centre at the country park. We would like some decision on the development of the allotment land at Shepherd Street, Slater Street. That's the project that's been going on for the longest time. We want, obviously, now that we've got planning permission to develop the frontage of the town hall, there's a very small piece of land that doesn't belong to either the county or the district, isn't registered with either. The assumption is that it is district council land that hasn't been registered. So we're going to be granted a licence for that piece of land so that we can carry on with our development proposals that we've got planning permission for. And then I've been trying to finish the project at the station at Gillow Heath for quite some time, the first phase of that, and part of that was the installation of a railway bench and an interpretation board, but that's on district council land. So that's a very easy win, actually. So those were the 4 initially that we chose to pick up. I've put a separate item in the confidential section at the end of the meeting, just because there is some commercially sensitive discussions that have gone on that I just want to pick your brains on, really, before I go back and feed back to the district council. And then at the point at which we've got leases or licenses to share with you in the public domain, I'll bring those back. But I want to kind of have a bit of a sense check as to where you are with those, if that's okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Item B, to receive an update on the health and safety activities, including risk assessment.
Okay, so previously in the finance committee meeting, we approved a quotation from Your Choice, who've done it's quite a bit of work within the town hall with regards to our kind of fire risk assessment priorities. And we approved a kind of phase 1 of the installation of new fire doors on the first floor of the town hall. Because we'd gone back and forwards with them for quite a number of months trying to identify priorities, the cost of that has gone up. So I don't know whether you want me to refer that back to the finance committee, or whether you would think that you'd like to consider it now. So the cost that we initially agreed was £7,155, and it's now gone up by a further £844. Which is still cheaper than the other quotes that the finance committee considered at the time. So I'm happy to refer that back to the finance committee if you'd like to do that. What I would say is it was the cheapest at the time, it still is the cheapest, and we do still need the work doing.
Yes.
But I'm happy to have further discussions at committee if that would be better.
Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, bearing in mind the price increase over quite a short space of time, but I move that we go ahead with that, with a motion tonight to go ahead with it from the full town council, rather than having to refer it back for the sake of £700.
884.
Yeah, we can actually, I'm proposing we make the decision tonight.
Okay, that's a proposal. Do we have a seconder?
Exactly.
Seconder from
I'll
council.
second that.
Yes. Can we have a show of hands on that, please? Okay, that's unanimous. You can go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other interjections on health and safety?
No, it's all.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I wanted to.
Councillor Salt, sorry.
I'm just aware that the health and safety rep for the town council from the councillors hasn't been available for a bit of time. And I was just wondering if we're falling a bit behind on the kind of discussions between the two of you, are we? And whether we should appoint a deputy to kind of deputise if councillors feel that is appropriate.
You must be psychic, councillor.
That's what I was
Because
muttering
that's
about,
just what we
so.
were talking about, and we were
Fair enough.
we were looking to raise it for and ready for next time after we do a little bit of work and put it forward to you. But if you want to discuss it now,
No, it's fine. There isn't a deputy. So obviously we have a health and safety representative from the councillors who kind of does some scrutiny of our activity and checks in with us as to where we're up to. So obviously that hasn't gone on for a little while because Councillor Harper's been unwell. But we haven't got a mechanism for recruiting a deputy. So we could perhaps give that some consideration if you want in advance of the next meeting.
put it on finance committee.
Well, yeah, put it on the finance
Put it on
committee
the
and then
finance
it's dealt
committee.
with at the end of the
Yeah.
month. Is that right?
Are we all
Chair?
happy that we put it on the finance committee for next time?
Yeah.
Second it, show of hands, please. Excellent. Thank you. We'll do that. So item C to sorry.
Quick comment, current one, who's the current mayor, is keen to do it, it's just ill health. Sorry, the intention of it. He does want to carry on.
Yes, we appreciate that, and there's nothing. If you don't mind, we appreciate that, and there's nothing in what we've proposed which would change that. It just reinforces it. Just reinforce it with the deputy. Deputies can be quite useful now and again. We won't have a vote on that one. To receive an update on the Biddle for Works Together project, again, over to you.
Thank you.
Officer.
There's two items on this really. I think we've got some handouts to give to you. This, oh look, it's been tag teamed. That's exciting. So just by way of reminder for those of you who are new to being councillors, the Town Council allocates £10,000 a year to support the voluntary and community sector organisations within our town to provide warm spaces with free or reduced cost activities and food. This, please don't identify any typos because this has gone to print. But this is where we're up to with this year. Slightly different colour change for last year, but this is going out in the Biddle Times at the end of this week. So that will go as a paper copy to all households in the town. It's a really nice offering. Again, it's a slightly different offering than last year. So that's a good, I think people liked doing it. They liked supporting people in the community. So that's that. That's
Councillor Garvey.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. I was just saying, if this is going out to the Biddle Times, can you please make sure that Biddle's Moor is covered, because it doesn't receive a distribution of the Biddle Times, as far as I'm aware.
I think the pile is left in the post office, but certainly we can find another way of getting the information out, whether that's on notice boards or something like that. It will, of course, also be on the website and social media and that sort of thing as well. So,
I know it's not absolutely certain, but the Chronicle does do a service where you can have one of these folded and have it inserted in the back of the Chronicle, and it would be, obviously delivered to a lot of extra people, perhaps people who don't get a Biddle Times. It's about 50 quid, 49.90. I think it is, or 2,000. So I tried it in January when I stood against.
Take it personally.
It was way well accepted because some people copied it and started using it as a service themselves to deliver literature. But it is a way of getting literature around to people that don't normally take Biddle Times.
Councillor Ward.
Just a quick one, Deputy Mayor. Can we put the bus times on?
Oh, it's gone to print.
Or can we put it on our website or something now?
Sorry, mate. It is on the website. It was in last time's Biddle Times. We did a spread on it in Biddle Times to say, don't forget the buses, reduced price.
Yeah, just to remind. If I don't know if we get it out anywhere else, but yeah, it might be useful for people if they're not aware of the bus times.
Just we keep plugging away at that.
Councillor Salt.
Did you want to say something else, or can I do my thing that's separate to that? Did you say there was two things?
What I was going to say is on the agenda, we've put there, it's actually a recommendation from the Transport Working Group. And it's included in the leaflet there because of the fact actually it hasn't cost the Town Council any money to continue with the £2 adult day ticket which is £1 for children. And so the proposal from the Transport Working Group was that went forward until the end of 2024, which is in line with the similar scheme that the government had done. So I just wanted to bring that to you for consideration.
So we're going to that. Councillor Hart, is this on the same subject?
Same subject,
Okay.
I will propose it.
Right, okay, good. Councillor Jackson?
Yeah, just very, very quickly, Chair, just put on record our thanks to the Town Council for all the organisations that give up their time to put on these activities. We do our bit in something, but without those people doing it, it would fall flat, quite frankly. And I think again, thanks to our staff as well, because I think this document is really the envy of a lot of places across the moorlands, because we are ahead of that curve again. But they are catching up on it now, but at least we were first out of the blocks. I think this Town Council and all the groups just need to be complimented on that. Just put it on record, our thanks to Town Council for all those groups. Thank you.
Thank you. Just coming on to the keeping the bus fares fixed. Have we got a second to that proposal? Councillor Redfern, could we have a show of hands, please? Excellent, thank you. Yes, Councillor Jackson beat me to it. I'd like to express the thanks on behalf of the councillors to Sarah and her team of diligent workers who have put together an absolutely fantastic programme with the voluntary organisations within Biddulph who've contributed to that, and it is something which has become the envy and talked about in the whole district and beyond. Councillor Salt.
Yeah, I just wanted to give an update on the preliminary, can't say I have to say it like that, findings from the research that I've been doing. So you'll know that I asked this council's permission some months ago to complete a research project in my role at Stafford University. So far, we've recruited the community researchers. The community researchers have gone out and done the research. We analysed the data on Friday, and we've got some preliminary findings to share that will be written into a report and formally sent back to the town council. They will produce a series of recommendations and a couple of other things. So if you just indulge me, I'd just like to share what we've got so far. So far, people said that they were thankful and grateful that the project existed, that it was well organised, that it was an example to other authorities, that it provided a support network, a safe space, a good laugh, somebody cares, improved people's mental health, provided food that they were very grateful for in tough times. They've been able to learn new skills. Things that we could perhaps think about addressing moving forwards. Transport was the key theme that came up. There's an issue with transport in Biddulph, so it's great to see that Stafford Moorlands District Council and the county are making evidence-based policy regarding transport and hopefully making some improvements there. One of the key themes to come out as well in terms of what we can do to tackle the issue of the cost of living crisis is give money, not give money, but give resources and help to the young. And considering that most of the people that completed the work were saying, or that took part in the research were kind of the older generation. Most of the feedback was that we need to help the young, which I thought was really nice. They said that they needed Meals on Wheels back, that we needed to teach skills to the young, that there needed to be help for DIY projects. And they also gave some suggestions as to how to get the word out a little bit better for the project. So things are moving on along nicely. One of the main findings from one of the questions is that people hadn't heard of Biddulph Works Together. That's not a problem. The fact that they attend groups and they know their groups exist is a wonderful thing, and it doesn't necessarily matter that they haven't heard the term of Biddulph Works Together. But one of the things the group wants to do moving forwards is to produce a logo for Biddulph Works Together, or 2 logos, and I'll share more on that once the final report's been published. But things are moving on really well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that update. We'll move on. So moving on to item number 55, to approve the revised national salary scales for 2023-24 attached. And you will see in your document back a letter and the scales from the National Association of Local Councils. Councillor Hart?
Yeah, I propose that we accept them. It's national, not everything else.
And seconded by Councillor Jackson. Can we have a show of hands, please? Unanimous, thank you. If you own that. Past hours. Right. 56, to receive an update on outside body meetings attended in the past month.
These be individuals who represent us.
Councillor Rogers.
Deputy Mayor, over at Stafford a few weeks ago, there was a presentation, actually, a couple of presentations. There's a new chairman, by the way. I know you don't know the chairman, but the new chair was very keen. The old one wasn't, so it should be quite good. There's a bit of an interesting one by a professor who come along about global warming. Now that we're not pumping all these fumes into the sky, getting clearer skies now, hopefully. That now lets the sun rays in, which is accelerating global warming. So work that one out. Anyway, the other one was, there's a new officer been appointed under the health and well-being of Andy Wheeler, and he wants to come and visit all the parish councils. And he's actually been to us already. I've been a chief officer, so let's fill in on that one.
Happy about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I'll just be very brief. He's been today, so he's the new Health and Wellbeing Officer at Staffordshire Parish Council Association. Obviously, without blowing our trumpet too much, here, we are one of the first town councils he comes to speak to, 3 weeks in post, which is lovely. And he's asked if I will help to be part of the advisory group that considers what his role is within the Staffordshire Parish Council Association. So broadly, he is going to try and bring some ideas together of what happens across the county at town and parish level, and provide some good practice and that sort of thing. So I've said, as we always do to these things, we'd be keen to be involved and help with that project. So I'll keep you updated on that.
Okay, councillor Hall.
Not surprising he'd come to see one of the best councils in Staffordshire first. He wants to benchmark everything from there on.
Only go downhill from there.
Yeah, no.
Was that it? Was that your intervention? I thought you were going to report on something. Oh, right, okay.
I'll just make a very quick comment.
Yes.
Yeah, it was mentioned that councils there from all over the area, really. It's thinking we should do something about this. Yes, we've been speaking about it for a long time. I think we should act on it. I actually stood up and said, we've acted on it, we've got the committee, and blimey says. Anyway, I had an email from a couple of days after. I've looked at your website. I'm very impressed. Can I come and visit?
Right, excellent. Very good. Councillor Hall.
Yes, thank you. Moors Partnership doesn't meet that often, but it's meeting next week.
Yes.
Just for everybody's information.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have a good agenda. And obviously we've got projects in hand, and I think they're admirable compared with other projects that come in from elsewhere. Thank you.
Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. This doesn't really fall under outside bodies, but as Councillor Flunders put me on the spot, I'm sort of doing a part two for him, if you like, because he was at this meeting yesterday as well, which was the health panel at Stafford. And we, I won't say we dragged them, but we got the ambulance service in to account for the disgraceful performance of the ambulance service in the Moorlands currently. To be told pretty much that they thought it was all the hospital's fault with ambulance delays and so on and so forth. And in part that's true, but in truth, in my opinion, and I talk regularly to serving ambulance staff. Now I know I'm retired, but I still talk to ex-colleagues. The main reason seems to be that, as I've always said, is that they are more interested in hitting targets nationally than looking after the people on the periphery of the Moorlands. It's very easy to hit targets in urban areas, and as a result, the resource tends to get sucked into Birmingham. So the Black Country resource gets sucked into Birmingham, and the Stoke resource gets sucked into Black Country and Shropshire and down to Coventry and all the rest of it. And if you live in Ipston's or Longman or wherever, you've had it basically. And that Anthony Marsh actually wrote to Ipston's Parish Council and basically said, we've never had the resource to cover Ipston's, and we haven't got it now. So pretty much hard luck. So, and that's disgraceful, and it's not true. I mean, I used to work on a coring league, and I know, particularly in the middle of the night, I could get to Ipston's in about 10, 15 minutes. But obviously they're taking all the local resource away, and I'm not going to go all over that again. But they wouldn't accept that. If people vote for it, they wouldn't accept that was the problem. But what they have agreed to is to participate in an independent review, not to county's instigation. I think, to be fair to them, it was their suggestion. And also, I think county panel are proposing to coordinate with the ambulance service and partners, i.e. GPs and so forth, because they're right to a certain extent. Ambulance service is the plaster that sticks over every sore, basically. People call the ambulance because they can't get a GP appointment and so on and so forth. So they are covering mental health issues, which I don't think the trained ambulance staff are trained, but they're not mental health professionals. They are trained in mental health, first aid, if you like, but it's not always appropriate. But the police don't want to do it, so the ambulance service gets it. So That's what's come out of it. There's some positivity out of it in the end, but I think we're a long way from getting the ambulance service back that we had 5 or 6 years ago. I liken it to trying to get served in a busy bar. If it's a crowded bar, you're near the bar, you'll get served easy. If you're down the periphery, you haven't got a chance. We find out it take to put some waiters on. Basically, that's the essence of what I was saying. And I think they took that away. I don't know what you thought. They took it away. Whether they'll do anything with it, I don't know. I was a bit disappointed, I have to say. It was a very poorly attended meeting. We were barely quorate, which did send out a particularly good signal to the ambulance service. And there was nobody that came along from the ambulance service that can make any changes. Anthony Marsh didn't come, Nathan Hudson didn't come. They sent the clinical nursing director, the PR man, and the other guy whose responsibility was. So they're not really engaging. Hopefully this independent review will bring them to the table a bit more. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'll just say, don't be ill. Sadly, don't be ill.
Well, we've received reports from outside bodies, so we don't normally have interventions. But Councillor Wood, if you'd like to be brief.
Just on the comment and Councillor Jones raised, because we've had a couple of incidents within the Moorlands, which Councillor Jones is fully aware of regarding defibs. And that's why the district council have put £23,000 in now for provide defibs right across the district, which are going to be maintained by a local, well, I assume they're a local company because that's the policy with education. So that has been put in place recently in the last couple of weeks. So defibs will be maintained by a company right across the board and the district.
Can I just come back over, if you don't mind, Mr.
Come back briefly and then.
This is because pretty much up to now, the defibs across the Moorlands have been sort of looked after on a pretty much piecemeal basis. So somebody looks after them in some other random person looks after them in longer and so on and so forth. The Biddulph ones, all 22 of them, I can absolutely assure you, are well maintained, well stocked, they're regularly checked by Biddulph Lifeline, myself, John Robinson, Ken Harper, and Tony Birchall. So we're not going to see any improvement in the performance of the defibs in Biddulph. So I just want to let you know that's always been the case in Biddulph.
Thank you. Right, so moving on to item number 57, to confirm the recommendation from the Town and Community Committee that the Town Council will commission an artist for the Station Road art installation commencing in the new year. Councillor Saul.
Can I propose that, please?
Certainly can.
Thank you.
Seconded by Councillor Garvey. Do we have it? Councillor Holcroft, you want to say something? Holsworth, sorry, you want to say something?
Yeah, you can get the name right. Can I ask what it is?
It's the
Jen.
It's the arts project for the Station Road arts installation.
What is it?
Seat.
It's in the minutes of the Town and Community Committee. There was discussion again about the project in the third circle at Station Road Garden down there. And we
Tiles.
yeah, the mosaic tiles that form an installation. The mosaic tiles are put together by people within the community to form celebration of other industries within the town. So we've been talking about it for a long time, and the committee decided that it was time to move forward with it, but wanted to put that to Town Council for approval.
Councillor Jones.
Have we settled on that design? That's what we're having to see. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not looking at other stuff.
that's pretty much it.
So we have Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, I
Just
did
quickly.
mention at a previous meeting when we were discussing this, that it actually goes to the young people's group on Wednesday this week. I won't be there, but I'm sure somebody will sort of bring it up. It's really important to get that school connection.
Engagement.
With that as well.
So we've had a proposal, we've had a seconder. Can we have a show of hands, please? 4. Can you keep your hands up because this is going to be a different vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11. Those against? And abstentions? So 11 for, 4 abstentions, that is carried. Thank you. Item number 58, to receive an update on the referendum for the neighbourhood plan and neighbourhood development order. Chief Officer.
Thank you. I'm sorry it's so much of me tonight. It's lots of updates before we break for Christmas. So as you know, there is a referendum for the neighbourhood plan and neighbourhood development order on Thursday, the 7th of December this year, and the normal polling station situation is happening. So polling stations around the town, lots of people started to get their poll cards. There are 2 votes. So what we've done is exactly what we've been asked to do by the district council. We've got the information downstairs that's available to people. The information is on our website. But still, for those who haven't been involved in the neighbourhood planning process, it is a bit complicated, and some background is useful to understand what they're actually voting for.
Nothing, carry on.
So what we have to be very clear about in anything that we put out is that we are not lobbying one way or another for a yes or a no vote. Obviously, we have developed the documents, therefore we can't influence the way that people vote. But the discussions that we've had are that we should tell people what they are voting for and what the document includes. So I have put together a presentation, which I don't propose to read to you word for word, but I'd like you to know that it exists. And it's a bit of a work in progress. And I'll refine it a little more. I'll send it to Councillor Hawley because he was the chair of the neighbourhood plan working group for his input. And I'll also seek some feedback from the district council just to make sure that they're happy with the content of it. But we did think if you are happy with the content of this, it could be something that we put on a TV screen in reception downstairs and just have it rolling, whether that's me talking to it, or whether it's just the presentation goes through on its own and just goes round and round as it is. So are there any questions first, and then perhaps I can just whiz through it. I will do it very quickly.
I had Councillor Park's show of hand. I don't know if you want to say something.
Actually, it feels terrible now Chief Officer has spoken, but actually it's a point of order. There's 17 councillors in this room, and there was 10 votes for and 4 abstentions.
I could only count hands which were up there, and it was carried anyway by a significant majority. So, and
Okay, so 17 and there were 10 for. It's in a sense.
For that, I didn't vote.
Take it again.
Yeah. You want to take it again? I mean, okay, can we put hands up in favour of the art installation going ahead again? Let's have a clear count.
Nice and high.
Nice and high, so we can count. Okay, yes.
3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 for.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against? Abstentions? 1, 2,
There's only
3,
Abstentions.
5
and
exceptions.
That's fine.
Yeah, we're fine. We're good. I miscounted one. It must have been a half-cocked hand.
You have to wave.
To Diane Abbott.
Even high in the air.
Waving fine. Hand raising training. Happy with that, right? Okay, okay. So, Councillor Jones, you had a comment on the referendum for the neighbourhood.
I was going to say, yeah, thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. All I was going to say was, yes, I'm fully in favour of this, and if because at the moment all I can say to them is it's on the website and it's 150 pages, and they just go, oh yeah, I don't know, it's not it. So if I could just say, yeah, there's a link to a full presentation, that would be great. So I'll just fully support it. That's all.
Councillor Salt.
There's 2 pieces of software. One's called Vimeo and the other one's called SlideShare, where you can put it on Facebook as well. And I'll just flick through. Because I don't think just having it in the town hall, that's only going to get a few hundred people. It needs to go wider. So if we can share it on Facebook using Vimeo, or you can do 2 videos a month for free using Vimeo.
Do we use Vimeo for the YouTube stuff?
I don't know. But the SlideShare as well. But either way, it needs to go on social media.
Yeah. They're better at the tech than I am, but I'm sure we'll work that out.
Yeah.
Would Councillor Rogers?
Councillor Rogers.
Yes, Deputy Mayor. It's very important that everybody votes. And I've been asked, is it going to be a simple yes or no? Do we have any ideas?
Yes.
Yes, it's a simple yes or no, is it?
There's 2.
Right, okay.
2 votes, isn't it?
2 votes.
2 votes.
If I run through this, I'll do it really fast. So don't criticise me for going really fast, but you'll get the gist, and then you'll know as well.
Yeah, and then councillor Redford wants to go in. Do you want to run through this first, are you okay?
I don't come in.
Lawton.
Councillor Law.
May I now?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I can see the reason for wanting it to go onto Facebook, but do you think it's opportune to remind members they shouldn't get embroiled in postings on the subject?
You can disable comments.
Yeah, it's all right.
And on something which is information only, then I would recommend that comments are disabled, and of course, we can do that.
Okay, we're ready. So Jodie's going to flick, and I am doing it fast because obviously. Okay, so we tell people 30 the 7th. There's 2 questions. These are the 2 questions. Do you want the type of development in the neighbourhood development order for Biddulph to have planning permission? So that's about the neighbourhood development order. So what that means is within the neighbourhood development order, do you want those businesses which are in the town centre, those shops on the high street, to automatically have planning permission as long as they do the certain things that are in the neighbourhood development order? So that's what that means. So if they're doing what's in the neighbourhood development order, they automatically have planning permission to do that, and they wouldn't have to put that in for their particular premises. I did question the wording of that. That's the national wording for that. That's the question that you have to ask if you're accepting a neighbourhood development order. So I have asked that question. The last question there is, do you want Staffordshire Moorlands District Council to use the neighbourhood plan for Biddulph to help to decide planning applications in the neighbourhood area? That's a more straightforward question. Okay, so a bit of background, been working with residents since 2015. If made, and that's the term that's used, these documents will form part of the planning policy for the town, which must be considered for every planning application submitted. Bit of duplication there. We'll get rid of that. Hold on back. What did I put in that one? Okay, a little bit about the residents thing again. So we've talked about protecting the needs of the community, and it's written by the people who care about the town and want to ensure that Biddulph gets the right types of development in the right place. Next. This is the statement that's been issued by Darren Price from the District Council. So it's not a town council statement. I included it here because it's out there in the public domain. That's what he said. What does the neighbourhood development order say and do? So it relates to a change of use for upper floors of commercial properties, the neighbourhood development order, and the replacement of shop fronts. So if they change, well, that's gone. We can get right. So part 1 is about the use of upper floors of buildings in the town centre. So if they want to use the upper floors of buildings as an office for research and development of products or processes, these are things that are within the B1 category, or for any industrial process that could be carried out in a residential area, permission would automatically be granted for that. Part 2 then of the neighbourhood development order is that there's quite a detailed shop frontage section within the neighbourhood development order. And if you are doing something in line with that, you wouldn't need planning permission to do it, which means that things like, your pizza places down the road with lights flashing and big neon signs, they would still need planning permission. If you're keeping in line with the more traditional type of shop fronts that are included in the neighbourhood development order, you wouldn't need planning permission. So key policies in the neighbourhood plan, diversifying business enterprise and tourism, supporting and enhancing town centre, development of the Albion Mill. You can see all these community facilities, making sure we enhance the rural character of the area. Go on, next one. There's quite a bit about local green space designations. That's a big part of the neighbourhood plan, and we've done quite well to get 50 additional local green spaces allocated within the neighbourhood plan. I think it probably doesn't feel like that for those of us who were there from the start and wanted more, but 50 additional sites is really important. So it talks a little bit in the presentation about what a local green space designation is, and then these are the 2 pages of the sites that would be allocated local green space sites, so. Okay, other policies. So this is an important one for people in the town. Development proposals must, where practical, have no significant adverse impact on the Biddulph Valley Way. And then there's further down, there's another one that we've been talking to people about a lot. In considering whether development should have a severe adverse impact on road capacity or safety, particular regard should be given to the following pressure points. So that's those areas of the town that we already know suffer really badly with congestion at certain times of the day. Okay. It's quite unusual, as I understand it, for a neighbourhood plan to protect significant local views. And whilst that's more challenging to implement, these are the views which are included within the plan that we want to protect. So for example, near Relief Road, looking towards Malcott, you're going to build something along up that hill, then you need to be very careful about what that looks like in terms of ruining the view for people up that hill. So that's quite important, and all those views are on there as well. It talks about high standards of urban design. So that's about enhancing existing footpaths, pedestrian routes, and that kind of thing as well. And being very clear to point out on this last slide that the neighbourhood plan does not allocate sites for development. So that piece of work has already happened within the local plan. Then that information is already, the neighbourhood plan basically includes the policies that say if you are building and developing in Biddulph, this is what it must look like. And then I'm including information there about where to find further detail about all those things. So I don't think it comes across, I hope it doesn't come across too much as though I'm telling people what to vote, but it is quite a positive document at the same time. So it's including information about that. I don't know whether anybody has any initial feedback on that.
Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I actually think, and I hope that I'm right, that I think only apart from probably maybe a few individuals that would like no control whatsoever and be able to do what they like, I think most of the people that don't vote will be voting for it. What's not to like? I think if you don't like it, probably what you say, I'm not going to vote for it, so I won't go. So I'm sort of kind of hoping that the turnout will reflect that when it comes along. But it's certainly it's a good plan. It's a lot of work gone into it, and it's I'm conscious of the fact that we're being watched here on YouTube. So I'm not trying to sway anybody's vote, but I just think this what's not to like. It's a good plan.
You are sailing very close.
Yes.
Councillor Salt.
Yeah, just a little thought. Can the video, whatever it is you produce, be sent to all community groups as well?
Yeah.
So they can share it with the people that attend their groups. So like all churches, I know, for example, the Methodist Church, that's the church that I go to. They do share like stuff like this on a Sunday morning because they do like to educate their congregation. So send it to all the groups that we've got contact with and ask them if they kindly share it on. Thank you.
Councillor Holdsworth.
Just a couple of points. Is the vote based on a simple majority?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if it's one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a minimum turnout?
No.
So you can have two people.
Have one person.
Right.
I think probably because of the time of year, we do anticipate there would be reasonably low turnout anyway. I don't know.
There has been a strong uptake recently of postal votes. And postal votes are usually an easy vote to do. So in that context, I would expect not a disastrous turnout, probably better than some of the other referendums which we've done, but we'll see it's winter. Thatcher.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. I'd just like to report that I've already had a number of local people come and talk to me about this neighbourhood, asking me what it's all about, and they're very interested in it, and they are going to look it up and have said they're going to vote one way or the other.
Very good.
If I may just add
Yes.
one extra point, we need to remind people that they have until the 21st to register to vote if they're not already. I think it's the 21st, but I'll double check on that. It's soon, it's this week, within the next week. And also it's the same as the last lot of voting that people did, that you need to take photo ID. So if you are talking to anybody about it, you have to remind people to do that. We'll put some more information out further too. We're just trying to make sure it doesn't get lost in other posts.
Councillor Holdsworth, very brief.
Just a quick, do you have to make an application to be able to vote?
You have to apply to vote, yes.
To
Well, you should automatically, you get a letter through the letterbox, which gives you registration to vote. However, if you have never filled one of those in, you can actually apply to vote.
So it's only if you're not registered.
Only if you're not registered, yes, you will. If you're registered, this is a normal election for the purposes of the Electoral Commission. So if you are normally registered for vote, you will get a voting card. Councillor Hart.
Yeah, just briefly, polling cards are already being sent round to me.
They are, yes.
And that's one, a secondary reason why I'm applying for my bus pass.
So a lot of effort going into this bus pass, I think. Right, okay, moving on. Item number 59, to confirm additional spend and final arrangements for the Christmas light switch on in the town centre on the 25th of November, 2023.
The dream team, look at them. It's a, so what we agreed through the Finance Strategy Management Committee in July was that based on the spend for events and the run up to the Christmas light switch on, that we would allocate £4,600 for items that would support those activities. So what you're getting are two documents. I wonder whether you might want to consider looking at Councillor Flunder's document in confidential. I'm not, we'll take a view on that if that's all right, Chair. So based on the fact that we allocated a budget of £4,600, the predicted spend at the moment with us paying for what will then be free activities for people is £3,187. That's where we're up to at the moment. I don't know if there's any questions on specific items on that. So for those of you who've attended the Christmas events working group, there's been some discussion about these items.
If we want to discuss individual parts of it against named service providers, then we will move this to confidential. If we are happy to accept as read on block, then we'd be quite happy to go to a vote as normal. Councillor Hart.
I'd like to move it, please.
Do we have a seconder?
Not yet, not ready.
No.
You've also had another document through which Funder has sent to us in his capacity at laser hire. There are a number of items that you might want to consider having as part of the Christmas lights event. I don't know whether you consider that to be commercially sensitive and whether you want to discuss that elsewhere. Obviously, we haven't got time to talk about it before the event. So I don't know whether you...
So that is on page 1.
So you've got this, everyone's got this document here, that's where we're up to.
Okay, so we're up to 3,187. On the bottom of page 1, there are other additional options on the document which you've got in front of you. Item 2 is, do we want some colour units to light up the front of the town hall, I take it? Town hall with controller and cabling. And an additional item is a multicolour indoor laser system with a stand, controller and accessories for inside the town hall.
Yeah, it's got these confetti tubes and flame
That's the initial
throwers.
quotation, isn't it? That's the additional.
Nobody's seen that. It's only something.
So that is nothing with that. So have we got a quick total on this?
There was something that Councillor Rogers did that popped last time.
Councillor Rogers, you had something which popped last time. Could you identify what that was?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, it's
Not your trousers.
a few years ago, actually, and it was Keith Flunder gave us some big tubes and I had one on the bottom of them. And he says, they're out of date, you can have them, if they work, up to you. And when we pulled them, they're all really good, actually, bang, and all lit up, and we'd like to have some more of those. I'm not sure of the cost, I'm just
I
looking.
think that's item.
That's out of date stock.
Yeah, and they worked really well. And they were free last time, but because they're out of date, that was why. So then we got to buy them and grab them again.
It's that because that's electric. These ones are pulled and held white confetti tubes with small CO2 cylinders. I think it's that one. Councillor Salt and then Councillor Jones.
I just understand something with this second part. Has this come as a recommendation from the working group that we want this stuff that's listed here?
No, it's come as it's been sent to us outside of normal kind of commissioning processes because we haven't had chance to consider this as a working group. There are options available. It's an addition if you want to bear in mind the spend before. There are a couple of nice features on there. I just
What budget did we set aside?
6.
If I can come back, I would say no to anything that makes a loud explosion. I was stood at the back towards Sainsbury's and there were kids crying. They just weren't anticipating any loud bangs. The last time we did that, it wasn't well received by the little people that I was stood next to, and particularly with people with learning difficulties, of which 2 people spoke to me about that and said that they had autism, they wear headphones anyway, and any loud explosions that are unexpected and they've not had a chance to prime their kids to be expecting is just not a good idea. And given that this hasn't come as a recommendation from any committee and it looks speculative and money is tight and we're spending thousands of pounds on Christmas lights, which is great and a great event, I think this personally is an unnecessary expenditure and I wouldn't advocate it.
Okay. Just before I bring in Councillor Jones, put it in the context. At the moment, we are committed to spending £3,200 approximately, 3,187. The budget was 4,600. If we take out the ones which are potentially noisy and I believe item 3 on other additional options, which is inside the town hall, is probably completely unnecessary and expensive. That would leave 400. That would leave around about £650, which takes the total spend up to 3,800, which is well within the budget and provide a degree of showmanship, so to speak. But that's just my sort of, which would be item 1, item 4, and other additional items 2. They are low impact, low noise, but high visibility, all of them outside. That would take the spend up to around about £3,800 against a budget of £4,600. I'm not going to propose that in as position of chair in the meeting, but that's just an option which I think takes on board what Councillor Salt says and as well within the budget which we've got. But I'm being very neutral on that. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I fully support what Councillor Salt was saying. I'm not a lover of fireworks. Who decided we needed fireworks at Christmas? Fireworks aren't a Christmas thing. You know, you got enough of the lights, haven't you? And flame project, for goodness sake.
I've crossed that one out as well.
Well, I think you've already crossed it out, haven't you?
You know,
I think we go for 2 and first one of the additional options, which is the colour units to light at the town hall.
1, 4 and 2 I've sort of suggested. I'm not proposing that, but I've sort of suggested as a...
You said 1, 4 and 2 out, did you not?
1, 4 and other items 2 are the ones which are well within budget and are low noise, low impact and certainly not fireworks.
Yeah, okay. 1, 4 and 2, I'm happy with that. And the money you saved, you can give me a few white confetti tubes to use at Biddulph. So the involvement of the council of Biddulph, if I may, the involvement of the switch on at Biddulph from the council is quite low key this year. Those confetti tubes, as Councillor Rogers said, work quite well. So 2 or 3 of them would be quite nice just to pop when we switch the tree on. But certainly I'm not going to support any fireworks. Thank you.
Councillor Hart.
Yeah, same. I made the proposal on the premise that we were voting on that sheet.
Okay.
Any additions must be, I think, a very strong decision from this council.
Yeah.
And your suggestion, I think, backed up by Councillor Jones, is more than adequate. It keeps it within budget. I'll stand on that for that, but nothing else.
Yeah. Before we go to a proposal in a second, Councillor Holdsworth.
Do we want to be blowing confetti all around the town centre? Is it paint?
Biodegradable.
It's biodegradable.
It's not in there.
We've been through that, but it's yeah, I know what you mean. It's high visual impact and it does degrade and dissipate quite quickly.
It gets rain on it.
Yeah, it does. Councillor Parks.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm just wondering, with your expert knowledge of pyrotechnics and lasers and such like, what is a space flower unit?
It's a unit which has got space flowers.
It's great.
I believe it rotates and transmits light, and then you have whatever it's projected on, you have a quite a nice feature and show. We had it one first time around. It was actually quite effective. It doesn't make any noise. Councillor Jackson and then Councillor Garvey, and then I think we'll see if we've got a proposal and second one.
It's just the comment, the second paragraph there, that if more than one option is chosen, then the overall price will be reduced depending on which options are chosen. So we'll have to get some clarity, if we make the decisions that it's suggested, 1, 4 and the addition number 2, I believe.
Yes.
What that actually does with the price.
How that fits in with the price, yes. Councillor Garvey?
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. I think at the last Christmas lights meeting, we actually there were a couple of other items that aren't included in either of these lists in terms of for example, the decoration of the town hall frontage windows. Is that included on here or am I missing it?
That's on your other line, chamber windows.
Okay, right. I missed it. I apologise. Thank you.
Councillor Salt, last intervention.
Do the confetti tubes make a bang? I think they do. If you've got a CO2.
They make a whoosh more than a bang. They're not a serious bang. You're standing with them. They don't give.
Not like
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. So, thank you. I have made a suggestion that we go, which seems to have a consensus, that we go for items 1, items 4, and other additional items 2. Do we have a proposer? Of Councillor Hart proposed. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Jones seconding. Can we go to a vote? Carried unanimously.
Are we agreeing this as well? You're space.
And can we have a vote? That was the vote for the additionals. Can we have a vote for the primaries, which is on the sheet, that for the sum total 3,187?
So proposes Councillor Hart second.
Okay, so we reverse the proposal on the second, and we've got unanimous acceptance on that. We have Christmas organised.
Christmas is in council, Mr.
If the
Deputy
chair
Mayor.
of finance organised.
We haven't cancelled.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item 60, accounts and finance. Again, we're looking at exceptions to query, expenditure over £500. Councillor Wood.
I'm not being facetious, but £168 for caretaker safety boots. Is that? Is an explanation why it's that expensive? It's got 2 feet.
Diabetes.
Big feet.
Yeah, it's a big one, actually.
Yes, they
Really, just for that.
They are specialist boots because of particular health condition of the recipient. Any other queries?
There's a supplementary sheet, I think. You
So,
could have added to pay me.
And item B is supplementary accounts, which you should have in front of you. So again, if you've got a chance to scan that. If we can take those on block, if we can have a proposer. Councillor Hart, seconded by Councillor Garvey. That includes the supplementaries. Right, thank you very much. That ends the public participation part of this evening's town council meeting. So I'd like to thank everybody who has come to watch both inside the chamber and on YouTube online. We are now moving to confidential. So we will be ending the recording and saying goodbye to our new representative from the Biddulph Chronicle. Very good to see you.
Can we come and get you in a minute?
We're
Before the next one.